Aspects of former President Ronald Reagan's career in politics and his personality is observed from many angles, but his father-daughter relationship has been cast in the harsh spotlight of Patti's highly publicized tensions with mother Nancy Reagan. Putting all tensions behind her now, Patti Davis has released a tribute of sorts dedicated to her parents.
It's a spiritual memoir. It's about what my father taught me about talking to God, about faith, about accessing that in your daily life. I can look back at moments that seemed small at the time that don't seem small now.
In every reconciliation, people usually walk away with lessons learned. Patti says she can learn from the violence that her father Ronald Reagan faced. You write about a lot of experiences with your father, particularly the John Hinckley experience. What did you learn from that?
I have learned that if someone can forgive a man who aimed a gun at them and tried to kill them, that I have no excuse for not forgiving the smaller acts of violence, if you will, in my life, the smaller betrayals or whatever. You know, that's what I hold as my standard. I don't always meet it, but
it's hard to.
It's hard, you know. But you have to have that as your goal, because if only one person on this earth has ever done it, and we know historically that other people have, then we're all capable of it.
Patti says she hopes her readers will enjoy how the book reveals her father to be a simple, heroic man with strong faith. Others seem more interested in Patti's mother-daughter relationship, while on the other hand, some in the autograph line were not interested in her featured book at all, but rather her feature in Playboy magazine.
I heard on Howard Stern's show, in fact, he was interviewing Patti Davis about, it was before I was going into school one morning, about, last year, 3 or 4 months ago, something like that, and she did a layout for Playboy, and so I went and got the Playboy and stuff, and thought, well, I'd come in here and get her book signed and see if she'll autograph her centerfold too.
And you say you're a fond reader of Patti Davis's book.
Yeah, I read The Way I See It, and I really identified with it because me and my mother have the same kind of relationship, so it's kind of helped me a lot.
I think she, the last couple of books that I have read, it seems as though she has kind of gotten a little, she's explained herself a little more, a little deeper. There's an awful lot of depth in each of her books, and I was thinking over on the way, when I was driving over from Arlington, I was thinking on every book that she's written, there's something you learn out of every book, and that's one reason why I came specifically to get this one today and see her.
And you'll be learning a little bit about her father as well.
Yes, that's true, and I'm very interested in that.
The book is primarily focused on my father because he was the one, and I do explain this in here, he was the one who was more forthcoming and more open about his relationship with God, and he was very free with his answers and his information. My mother was a bit more private about her belief system. I asked each of my parents to write a preface for the book, and they did, and it's the most revealing my mother has ever been about her spirituality and her relationship with God. I know more about her beliefs now than I did before, but she always sort of kept it to herself. So that is the reason that it's primarily focused on him, but she has certainly taken her part in it.
Many people saw the Playboy magazine shoot that you did as a personal affront to your mother. How did your mother see that experience?
It was Playboy. It's not like I did it for one of those other magazines,
right,
you know.
Right.
It was Playboy. I'm in very good company, and I find it interesting that we as a society in general don't seem to have a problem with watching O.J. Simpson trying to make his getaway in his white Bronco, or you know, autograph people going after Kato Kalin, or these weird things that are happening right now. But someone poses nude in a magazine. We hadn't reconciled at that point. But if we had, I still would have made the same decision, you know?
Your decision.
Yeah, and you know, once we did speak again and develop the relationship that we have, you know, she doesn't have a lot of it. It's not her thing, but she doesn't like underwear ads having, you know, half nude people in underwear ads. It's just not her taste. Right. But that doesn't mean she has extreme judgment on it.
An author of 3 other novels, Patti Davis titles her latest work Angels Don't Die, borrowing a classic line from her father.
When I was pretty young, 8 or 9 is my memory, someone in my school had told me that every time a star falls, it means an angel has died. And I was very upset about it, and I thought that heaven would be emptied out of angels, God would be lonely. And I asked my father, and he said, no, that's not true. Angels don't die.
I've heard you refer to this book as the sweet retreat. What do you mean by that?
Whenever I sat down to work on it, it was just, it really came through me. And I used that phrase in answer to the question, what do you want people to get from it? Mm-hmm. And I always wanted, from the time I finished it, I envisioned it as being something that people could keep by their bedside, mm-hmm. and go back to it once in a while and just open it to any page. Mm-hmm. And it's actually served that purpose for me. I have to reread my own book sometimes and reacquaint myself with some of the stories and some of the lessons.
Lessons from a former First family member, Patti Davis finds her own peace in sharing stories and teachings of life in her new autobiography. Reporting for About Town, I'm Claire Myers.